Hey guys, it's Lindsay Beck, and I'm from North Lafayette Elementary School. I teach 5th grade mathematics, and we're going to take a look at data for North Lafayette Elementary, and specifically, we're going to take a bigger glance at 4th grade's GMAS data so that we can make some goals for those students before they come to 5th grade. I hope you'll join me on this quest, and I'm excited about it. I'm hopeful that our data team can use the findings to create a plan for academic achievement and present these findings to our school admins, our teachers, and our academic coach for even more feedback as we discover our purpose here. Our first purpose is to review the demographic changes at NLE in the last 3 school years. Our second point is to specifically focus on the 4th grade Georgia Milestones mathematics data from the last 3 years. This will help us as 5th graders see the bigger picture before we meet our students this year. Our third point and purpose is to pinpoint strengths and weaknesses within our current math instruction. And our last point is to kind of be looking at how are we going to get there and answer questions together and make a plan. I'm really excited to join you in this quest to leading us to academic success at North Lafayette Elementary. We're also going to consider these 4 questions. When looking at the data, what are the current strengths and weaknesses in geometry, measurement, and data, fractions, base 10, and operations and algebraic thinking? What modifications can be adopted by teachers to foster positive outcomes in the classroom? What data can we gather to drill down where this is coming from? And finally, how can we measure progress towards these changes throughout the school year?
As you can see in the bar graph, in the 2016-17 school year, we had 484 students at North Lafayette Elementary. In 2017-18, we lost about 30 students and went down to 451 students, and we've stayed around 450 in 2018-19 at 453 students. When looking at the enrollment by gender from the 2016-2019 school years at North Lafayette Elementary, you'll notice that in 2016 we had our highest male population in the last 3 years at 52%. 2017, we were equal with females at 50 and males at 50. And our most recent school year, we had females with 49% and males at 51%. When you see this 2016-2019 student enrollment slide, it's classified by need of academic service. What you can notice here that's clearing to us is that in the Gen Education column, we have made a steady increase to 64% of students that are in Gen Education. That means they're receiving no outside services other than their classroom teacher or possibly an interventionist if they were an RTI or an EIP. You'll also notice that our gifted student population has stayed about the same with a steady increase of 12 from 10. And our students with disabilities has been fluctuating. It's at 18% in the 2018-19 school year, but down from 20% in the previous year. Our ELL has stayed around the same at 2% of students receiving ELL services. As we visit the socioeconomic status of student enrollment from 2016 to 2019, you can see that we have had a steady increase of qualified socioeconomic students from 57% to 61% to now 64% in the 2018-19 school year. Over the last 3 years, the race of enrolled students is minimally changed. Caucasian is still the highest percentage with 86%, African American 3%, Asian 1%, Hispanic at 2%, and multiracial at 7%. As we all know, attendance directly affects academic performance in the classroom. We saw a major decline in attendance this year in 2018-19. We went from 17% of 10 or more absences in 16-17 to 18% in 17-18 and to 27% in 18-19. This is a big problem for our system. North Lafayette Elementary School is made up of 38 certified teachers that are 100% female. The average teaching experience is 12 years, and the ethnicity of the teacher makeup is 97% Caucasian and 3% African American. We can gather from this that we are not a super diverse school. The GMAS is a standardized yearly assessment designed by the Georgia Department of Education for grades 3 through 5. It assesses the areas of mathematics and ELA in 3rd and 4th grade, and it assesses mathematics, ELA, science, and social studies in 5th grade. Foundational years are labeled as 3rd and 5th grade. Students in 3rd or 5th grade must pass the ELA portion to not be considered for retention, and in 5th grade they must pass ELA and mathematics. The domains that are tested on the Georgia Milestones Assessment for math include geometry, measurement and data analysis, number and operations with fractions, number and operations in base 10, and operations in algebraic thinking. You can see here the GMAS scale score table. An achievement level, a beginning learner, is a score of 270 to 474. A developing learner or a level 2 learner is 475 to 524. An achievement level 3 or proficient learner is 525 to 584. And an achievement level 4, which is a distinguished learner, is 585 to 715, with 750 being perfect. When we look at the data from 2016 to 19 in the geometry domain for 4th grade, we can see a substantial decline in the need for remediate learners from 2016 to now. That's a great gain. We also see an increase in monitored learning and accelerate learning. So we know we're moving in the right direction. Again, in measurement and data, we see an increase in accelerate learning, with the highest amount being in the 2018-19 school year. We've also seen a decrease in remediate learning. When looking at the fractions breakdown, we see that the remediate learning is on the decline from the 17-18 school year. However, our accelerated learning for fractions has also declined from the 17-18 school year, and our monitored learning has increased. This shows an area that we need to be working in. When looking at the base 10 breakdown from numbers and operations, again, we can see a steady decline in the number of remediate learners and a steady increase in the number of accelerate learners in the past 3 years. 2018-19 had the least amount of remedial learners and the most amount of accelerated learners that we've had since starting the Georgia Milestones Assessment. The data for the operations and algebraic thinking for the 2018-19 school year in comparison showed a really great gain in accelerated learning. However, it also showed an increase in intermediate learners from the 2017-18 school year and a decrease in monitored learning. So that's an area for us to look at. The results of the 2018-19 4th grade mathematics GMAS test showed that we had 9% level 4 distinguished learners, 37% level 3 proficient learners, 34% level 2 developing learners, and 20% level 1 beginning learners. Of the 74 students that took the 4th grade mathematics GMAS test, 80% of our students in 2018-19 were rated as proficient students and 20% were improficient students. Data wasn't available for the 2019 4th grade Georgia mathematics comparison data to the county and the state. As you can see in this slide from the 2018 data, North Lafayette Elementary School in 4th grade was below the county and the state guidelines, the county and the state scores. However, I would love to see that 19 data because it looks as if our proficiency data has drastically improved, which would increase our proficiency towards the Walker County and the Georgia comparison map. The strengths that we saw were a drastic increase in proficiency over the last 3 years in mathematics from the GMAS assessment, a steady increase of accelerated learners on the operations of algebraic thinking, the numbers and operations of base 10, measurement and data, and domains of mathematics, and then a great improvement in level 3 learners overall from the 2017-18 to the 2018-19 school year. Some weaknesses that we've noticed to work on and noted are poor attendance in the 18-19 school year, inconsistent gains in accelerated learners from the just across all 3 years, and then an increase in intermediate learners from 2017-18 to 18-19 in operations and algebraic thinking domain specifically. Some questions we'll use to guide our thinking today and our thought process today and just what's next is how can we improve attendance at North Lafayette? How can we decrease the amount of obedient learners across all domains? How can we use what we have learned about drilling down instructional needs for our staff? And how can we use the obvious strengths that we've got to counteract these weaknesses that we see? So what's next? It's a brain. We're going to review those questions as a team. Let's generate some answers that we can use to drive out this motivation. Let's create an action plan that's built on the foundation of just where are we going, and determine how we're going to implement a goal setting and monitoring system that highlights the positive growth for students at our school. I hope that this lets you see some great things about our school and specifically what our fourth grade team is doing. So let's work together and let's make it even better. I hope you're as excited as I am to get started.